Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger, and my friends, we have even more Guilty Gear Strive to talk about today. And for today, it is twofold. We have some more footage from the location test of the arcade version of Guilty Gear Strive in Japan, and just some stuff that goes with that. And we also have this, what you're looking at right now, which was an interview with one of the developers of Guilty Gear Strive. So we will start first with this interview, and then we'll move on to some of the gameplay stuff. And I want to say big ups to Lord Shinjin Baiken, as they are responsible for the translation of the information we have gathered from this interview. Now, this interview wasn't some super in-depth breakdown of the game or anything like that, just some notes of where we're at and what to look forward to in the future. And the first thing that was brought up was a hot topic issue, and that is the status of anti-air and jump attacks. A lot of people think jumps are overpowered in Guilty Gear Strive, and they have already stated in the past that it will be addressed in the future coming to the retail build of the game. And specifically, Arc System Works will announce detailed changes to anti-airs, jumping, all that kind of stuff, and what they're doing with that in the promotion lead up to the next open beta test. Now, they didn't say when that's gonna be, because otherwise we know when the open beta test will be, but some point between now and launch of the game, right? So hot topic issue to be sure, and some of the gameplay footage we have later in this video will also deal with anti-air stuff as well, but they will have a change list for us, or at least an in-detailed explanation, and hopefully a lot more than just that as well, right? I want to know all the changes. I'm grasping at straws looking at all this location test footage, right? So I definitely want to see more than just that. I'm happy to get it, but I want to see everything that has changed, not just that. Also in the video, they're still very interested in attempting PC to PlayStation crossplay, as the PS4 and PS5 versions crossplay just fine with each other, but the PC and the PlayStation versions, well, they don't. They do specifically state here that they just want to ship the game first before they start worrying about it. So get it done, launch it, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's delayed, they got other stuff to work on, and then the work can begin on it. They did also state that it is quote-unquote very difficult. And I wonder about that, because I remember one of the big lead-ups to crossplay becoming a thing was the power play by Epic Games in Fortnite, when they accidentally, as they put it, turned on crossplay just by basically flicking a switch. And basically after letting everybody know, that is when crossplay started becoming more and more common. Heck, I just was playing the Chivalry 2 beta the other day, and crossplay is in literally every version of the game. PlayStation, Xbox, PC, all that, right? Now, I'm not an engineer, I'm not a developer. Maybe it is a lot harder for certain reasons I'm not too sure of, but it doesn't seem to be too big of a deal for other games, so I'm not sure why they're making it a big deal here. If I'm crazy and I'm wrong, hey, let me know, but that's just my 2 cents on that. Also in the interview, bringing up some of the negativity around the location test itself, what we've been talking about the last few days here on the channel, bringing up that people are mostly mentioning nerfs, and I'm just as guilty as anybody, right? But I can only report on what is being shown. But they are saying there's a lot more to the location test. There's a lot of untapped potential that just nobody's reporting on. They don't see anyone talking about it yet. And also even the last open beta test, there was a lot of stuff that was just left on the table that was not yet discovered. So basically, there's a lot more there than just, some of the surface level stuff that you're seeing. Also stated that the meter changes they have planned are currently in that location test build, and I re-went through some of the footage and I can't even tell what's going on, so maybe it's too subtle for me to understand, I'm not sure, but there's definitely a lot more there than just what we're seeing. And for the interview Cliff's notes here, just one more final. They do say they want their communication to be accessible worldwide. And you know what? They've been doing a truly fantastic job on that front, right? Arc System Works is now one of the best fighting game developers when it comes to just letting the public know what's going on behind the scenes, more than just, hey, here's the trailer for the next DLC and please buy it, right? They are very open, they are very communicative with the public as a whole, and I'm happy that seems to be the mission statement going forward. And those are the highlights for the interview. Now, if you understand Japanese, I'll link the interview in full in the video description, and you can check it out there. That all said, now let's move on back to the location test. I believe this was the last day of the location test in Japan, and we got some more info, and specifically about some anti-air stuff. So one specific example here is Zato with Eddie, and when Eddie's doing the frog shark attack thing. So before, in this exact situation, if you tried to instant air dash over his head, you would just go clear over Eddie's head, easy as you please, and hit Zato on the other side, right? So now this is one of those things where Eddie doing this move has a much higher expanded vertically hitbox than he did before, making it a lot easier to catch people in the air. So in this manner, it is certainly now a much better anti-air move, right? At least dealing with airborne people, when before it just wouldn't in this way. So I am certain now we know this exact example, there's probably so many more types of examples like this, right? A lot of moves tuned to have a much better anti-air hitbox, or at least a higher vertical hitbox than it had before, than it was otherwise in the previous builds of the game. It's the little changes like these that make all the difference in the world, and gives me some confidence now they know what they're doing here, as this definitely has an impact on gameplay for sure. And of course, one thing that helps with anti-airs is just simply optimizing and being familiar and being comfortable, right? So this is a much more optimized anti-air combo than some of the stuff we had in the open beta, to be sure. Like, there's 3 close slashes in here with a micro dash in between each of them, so we're getting pretty fancy, but the damage is substantial. And just to note for people that's newer to the Guilty Gear, yeah, that damage was very huge to be sure, but there is the gut system where you take less and less damage the more you get hurt. So if the opponent was like at halfway life, it would not do that same amount of damage. But otherwise, if they're in any way airborne and you get like your bigger buttons that are definitely harder to anti-air with, you will get a big reward, as you can see here, another example. Like for my personal experience in the beta, Potemkin's forward light punch is actually one of the few forward light punches that was really good as an anti-air, and it also launched people up on counter hit rather than away, specifically meant to be used in anti-air combo kind of way, and you get your damage, and it did alright damage, but if I could catch you with a raw down heavy slash as a counter hit instead, I'd get 10 times more, like so much more, right? So big buttons that are harder to anti-air with definitely carry much bigger rewards. Another example of anti-airs here, it looks like if you do your Dragon Punch, your uppercut style moves here, when they're at the top of their jump, when you land, you'll either be slightly plus or even with the enemy, as it causes some landing lag recovery for the enemy. So this is a buff to weaker uppercut style moves. Now, my understanding is in Strive, they don't have the same invincibility as they did in Exar and some other games. So you might be able to just throw them out of it, and maybe that's the mind game, but you can make basically your uppercut safe on block. Now, on the flip side of that, if you just defend one of these uppercuts here at the tip of your jump, what will happen instead is that landing recovery you get when you hit the ground after blocking is gone. You recover instantly, meaning you can make something that was unpunishable before punishable. So there's definitely some give and take on this kind of stuff. So then we enter the usual layers upon layers kind of stuff, right? So if I DP your jump, well, I'd hit you unless you blocked, and then, well, then we're both safe, whatever. However, I can jump and just defend against the uppercut, and then I get to punish you. However, then if you're going to try to just defend and block, I can just jump up and air throw you. And then if you try to jump and air throw me, then I can just attack and beat you out. And if I'm going to attack and beat you out, then I can do the uppercut. But then if you're going to do the uppercut, I can try to air throw you out of the uppercut, and it just goes on forever, right? Depth is certainly not one of the problems game's going to have. It's going to be just fine right there. And finally here, a maybe buff for Leo. I know a lot of people disappointed with some of the changes with Leo, but here's one thing. So his jumping dust attack where he does kind of like this downward spin. So this appears to be special cancelable upon landing now. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if this is a true buff or not, or if this was in the previous build of the game. Some people are taking this as a buff, so that's why I'm reporting it to you. I did put a fair amount of time in the Leo, but I never thought about using it in this way. I just tried to aim it like a dive kick, like Street Fighter 4, try to hit you in the toes, get a counter hit combo from there, that kind of stuff. So maybe this is a buff, maybe not. I'm not too sure, but I'm reporting it as I'm seeing it. If you know for sure one way or the other, please post in the comments below. But that is what we got for today, all in all. So the interview is very, well, hopeful. We're going to get more info soon, and it seems to be a lot of info gameplay-wise. And, of course, the open beta. I know we're all just fiending. We all just want something with Guilty Gear Strive, and hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer. The location test has definitely been giving us some hints, rough, vague hints of where things are going. But just seeing everything written down in proper format will definitely ease a lot of minds, that's for sure. That all said, we're all hyped out of our minds for Guilty Gear Strive, so post whatever you need to get off your chest in the comments below. And otherwise, I guess we gotta wait for some of these announcements and the open beta test announcement itself. So until then, my friends, I'll have all the info and coverage you need when that time comes, but otherwise that is the end of this video. So thank you very much for watching, hope this video finds you well, go out and play some Guilty Gear.